Well, I mean, what did I say? I said something. I said you never know. You don't really know what seeds you get. You don't really know what your harvest from the summer is really until the next spring when you see what your seeds are. I mean, if they try to screw with you and take your seeds and keep you from getting seeds, you're just not supposed to know what they do or care. Let somebody else take it and do completely the opposite of what was meant when you did what you did. They already know. I had 2 years in a row where I said specifically, you literally harvested my ovary. They literally harvested my ovary. I felt it and I heard it. They gave it to the woman in front of me. It was horrible. I mean, I still got one left. They literally harvested my ovary, and then I had to go through a process of understanding I'm not the only woman. They have a specific preference of women who they electronically harvest, not only of our hormones, but of our actual reproductive capabilities. And they'll actually give it to other women. They've done this. I saw it. She was beautiful. But she didn't look anything like me. And if she and I had actually mated, if I had been a man and I had had sex with her and we had children, it wouldn't look anything like what they were giving her. Does that matter to some people? Well, what would have happened? What other stuff did I have? There's other things. See, that was what the intention was. I was going to talk about the early coinage system and what might be alternatives people might have an interest in. That's one. Two. Three. And this one, I gotta admit, this one is very serious because I did two formal versions of this and they were stolen. And I had to do another, this time written. This. This. Which goes with this. You see that? And what else was there? Oh, yeah. Then there's this from today. Just came to me. Huh? Look at that. This. That would actually be this, right? I mean, because all the stuff before had something else. And then there's this. This right here. This right here. This right here. You know, this doesn't take a lot of money. It actually doesn't. It really doesn't even take a lot of money. But what's the expectation? Somebody took everything else I had to do because they really wanted me to do things I didn't want to do and are actually completely counterproductive to what I do want to do and what I'm capable of doing. This is the work. These are what would be what you do after you have a year and you create a budget or you do things like I did last year, even though it was an emergency. I was indoors. I had access to some resources I hadn't had for 3 years while I was literally on the street outside. I came up with business plans. I kept the timelines. I made scads of money that somebody else got credit for, usually for stuff I didn't want to do. How many different legal arguments did I come up with? These are budgets. These are my tax records. You know what this is? This is the one that hurts the most. This is my healthcare plan. This is my healthcare plan. And based on what I was told when I was offered the job, in terms of hours I would need to work, what the explicit expectations were, what the wages were, my understanding of the taxes, the understanding of what would be put into the pension system as part of, or into the benefits, that this and this in 1 year I could have done both of these things. That's what this budget is. This is my healthcare plan. I already got some of it already. This is my healthcare plan. It's the budget. It's the budget for my healthcare plan. This is my outstanding debt, as they at least let me know. This is what you would do when you have to compare. If you're doing a contract, or if you're trying to get together an RFP, you need to get at least 3 different bids. Sometimes, depending upon the project, you might have more than one contract. So you may not use the same company or the same source for everything you have to do. You might get multiple bids from multiple companies and then decide, well, I want this from here, I want this from here, I want this from here. That's exactly what I did. And then I came up with this, which is the list of materials I would need and the budget for an entire year. An entire year. And understanding of other kinds of things having to do with savings and taxation, so that I could recertify for my certifications in non-destructive testing and take more than one class in radiation safety. Why? Because it's important to see who's doing what and to cross-reference it and to let other people know. I could have done all of that on what was offered explicitly. I could have done the classes. I could have studied. I could have budgeted. I could have had a monthly healthcare budget with a very specific modality that I personally not only agree with on a matter of principle, but that also think is the basic minimum that everybody's entitled to, commensurate with their abilities. It's all right here. But I can't work that job. I can't go to the work site and do every other thing that they want to get done without anybody talking about it instead of the job they told me they had hired me to work. This all didn't have to have anything to do with that. I mean, it would have helped. I would have been working there. They would have potentially been considered a potential supplier of my healthcare plan. But all of that right now is off. They still have me on the schedule through the end of the first week of March. I'm not going to work. They have some letter. I think it's supposed to be a termination letter. But they refuse to even let me speak to a legal representative for the organization. Who thought they had the... Let me ask you a question. Let's ask it this way. Who had the authority to interfere with both a fully capable healthcare plan that's legal and that's actually effective, including in regards to preventative health and maternal health, by the way, and interfere with a course of action regarding pipeline safety and or the safety of industrial facilities, up to and including industrial facilities that would be required to have people specifically and specially trained in how to handle radioactive materials or the potential for a CBRN incident. Who thought that all of the other stuff that they wanted to put onto me getting a part-time job as the equivalent of a bagger in a grocery store? Who thought all of that other crap was more important than this? I'm serious. And then we've got the taxes. Tax policy right here. Then we got, you know what this is? Then we've got defense. Then we got this for today, which would have to potentially have to do with international policy around finance and commerce and say we're not ready to, or we don't want to have to be in a constant wartime posture with people internationally? What are some of the considerations regarding responsible international finance? Well, usually I just think, I just speak. Today I actually wrote it down. And then, just because I did this, because I'm this crazy, there's these things here. You know what this is? This is my reserve. It's an inventory of my reserve. It's a literal reserve. You know, with all they were talking about at the state of emergency, it happened with this ice storm. I didn't even need to go into my reserve. I would only have needed to take one thing out of reserve based upon what was already here on site. Just so you know. That's the kind of reserve I have. And then we have this thing here. It's this crazy thing I did. Somebody threw something out. Christmas came. Christmas came and they left the trash out. What was their trash? For Christmas, what was their Christmas trash? They were pumpkins. Well, the pumpkins got wet in the rain. They were outside when the snow melted. The pumpkins bloated. I took the seeds. I got all the seeds. All of them. I counted them. I put them each in a separate little jar. It was great. It was actually wonderful. That's what I did during the ice storm. You know that? That's what I did. All of this. You didn't want me when I was a lawyer. Really, it seems at the end of the day, all you wanted was for me to shut up and get high with you and put out. I put out. But you're not here. It was just masturbation. Right?